Is brute power enough to win a war? The most honest answer would be, it depends. Just think about it. What happens when the enemy isn't on conventional battlefields, but instead hides in jungles, deserts, and remote borders, operating in the shadows as traffickers, insurgents, or rebel groups? What would be more effective? A supersonic jet loaded with futuristic tech, or a seemingly modest aircraft designed to do the dirty work? Meet the A-29 Super Tucano, Embraer's answer to a world where warfare is no longer limited to major military powers. Propeller-driven, it may not impress at first glance, but it's precisely in its simplicity that its genius lies. Tough, economical, and lethally efficient, the Super Tucano thrives where high-tech jets fail, in hostile environments, on makeshift runways, with low maintenance demands and pinpoint strikes in challenging terrain. Originally built to protect Brazil's borders from illegal flights and to fight drug trafficking, the Super Tucano quickly gained global recognition. Capable of facing common threats in over 15 countries, it redefines what we expect from a precise, competent attack aircraft. But how can a plane that looks far less advanced and intimidating do the opposite? Instill fear in criminals and challenge armed forces across the globe? What makes it the perfect weapon for asymmetric conflicts? Today you'll find out how the Super Tucano redefined national defense and proved that sometimes less is more, and simplicity can be far more lethal. The drug dealer's hunter. A-29 Super Tucano. Between 1978 and 1980, during the development of the EMB-312 Tucano, the military aviation landscape was heavily shaped by the Cold War, with an intense technological race between the United States and the Soviet Union to dominate the skies with increasingly advanced combat aircraft. This era marked the transition to fourth-generation fighters, introducing greater maneuverability, sophisticated electronic systems, and high-precision weaponry. The United States led this evolution with jets like the McDonnell Douglas F-15 Eagle, designed for air superiority with advanced radar systems and the ability to operate at high altitudes, and the General Dynamics F-16 Fighting Falcon, a more affordable and widely exported multi-role aircraft known for its high agility. Meanwhile, the US Navy operated the iconic F-14 Tomcat, famous for its carrier-based capabilities and long-range radar systems. On the Soviet side, aircraft like the MiG-29 Fulcrum and Su-27 Flanker were still in development and had not yet reached operational maturity. At that time, the Soviet Union relied on third-generation fighters like the MiG-21 Fishbed and the MiG-23 Flogger, extensively used by Warsaw Pact countries. Other nations were also investing in their own aircraft. France operated the Dassault Mirage F1, while the United Kingdom introduced the Panavia Tornado, a multinational collaboration with Germany and Italy. Israel, in turn, modernized the IAI Kfir, based on the French Mirage design. In parallel, emerging countries were seeking cost-effective solutions to renew their fleets and meet local needs, such as pilot training and light attack roles. It was in this context that Embraer began developing the Tucano, an aircraft designed to fill this gap, as second-tier countries looked for aircraft to solve pressing issues. While major manufacturers focused on advanced supersonic jets, Embraer, the Brazilian aeronautics company, was founded on August 19, 1969, born of a strategic vision by the Brazilian government to create a strong, independent national aerospace industry. During the 1940s and 50s, Brazil heavily depended on imported aircraft for both civil and military use, but the scenario began to shift with the creation of ITA, Instituto Tecnológico de Aeronáutica, in 1950, in São José dos Campos, São Paulo. ITA was essential in training engineers and aviation experts, providing the intellectual and technical foundation for building a national aerospace industry. In the 1960s, CTA, Centro Técnico de Aeronáutica, also located in São José dos Campos, began working on national aviation projects. One of these was the IPD-6504 Bandeirante, a light transport aircraft led by French engineer Max Holste and completed under the supervision of Brazilian engineer Osiris Silva, who would later become Embraer's first president. The Bandeirante proved Brazil's potential to design and build aircraft, but mass production required a dedicated corporate structure. To make this vision reality, the Brazilian government created Embraer as a mixed capital company with both public and private investment. Once established, Its mission was to design, manufacture, and sell aircraft for both domestic and international markets, initially focusing on small and medium-sized planes. The first major success was the EMB-110 Bandeirante, a turboprop regional transport aircraft that entered commercial service in 1973. The Bandeirante not only met Brazil's needs but also gained traction in international markets, establishing Embraer as a respected name in the aviation industry. Over the following decades, Embraer diversified its production, entering the commercial, military, and executive aviation markets. Some of its most notable products include the ERJ and E-Jet's regional jet families, widely used by airlines worldwide, and the A-29 Super Tucano, the star of today's story. The idea versus the need. In the 21st century, large-scale military conflicts between rival powers have become rare. Instead, modern warfare is characterized by asymmetric conflicts, such as those experienced by the US and NATO in Iraq and Afghanistan, or by Russia and NATO in Syria. Similar battles occur in the jungles of Colombia, the savannas of the Sahel, and the mountains of the Caucasus. These unpredictable and bloody wars pit modern air forces against ground insurgencies, and the issue is not just that these powerful jets are excessive, it's that they are the wrong solution for problems that require precision. A few years later, Embraer began developing its own attack aircraft. At the time, Embraer did not yet fully grasp that it was solving a global problem, but it knew many countries faced security threats without the budget to invest in sophisticated war jets. The development of the EMB-312 Tucano began in 1978, when the company aimed to meet a Brazilian Air Force FAB demand for a new basic training aircraft. The FAB was looking to replace its outdated T-6 Texan trainers, which no longer met the modern requirements for pilot training. The goal was to create a turboprop aircraft that combined low operational costs, ease of maintenance, and versatility for not just training missions. It had to be capable of carrying significant armament despite its single turboprop design, and operate over long distances with a wide range of weapon systems, making the project more appealing. After successful testing, the Tucano was adopted as the FAB's primary basic training aircraft and quickly became a global success. It was used by South American countries like Brazil, Colombia, Venezuela, and Peru, as well as African nations such as Egypt, Angola, and Kenya, and countries in the Middle East, including Iraq, Iran, and Kuwait. One of the Tucano's biggest early achievements was its export to the United Kingdom, where it was modified and operated as the Short Tucano by the Royal Air Force. This success cemented the EMB-312's status as an excellent and reliable product. Originally a basic flight training aircraft, many of the countries that acquired it later reported very favorable outcomes in how the Tucano handled local insurgencies and rebel movements. Thanks to the Tucano's overwhelming success, Embraer's engineers and executives realized they had a genuine opportunity in their hands. However, deciding the future path for the aircraft proved to be difficult. Initially, the company invested in an updated Tucano project that never came to fruition. A series of incompatible prototypes were built, but none were selected for production, until the Brazilian government itself approached the company with a request. At the time, Brazil was facing a border issue, particularly the challenging nature of the Amazon rainforest. The peripheral areas of western Brazil were so hard to patrol that illegal flights, mostly related to regional drug trafficking, entered and exited the country with little resistance. The Ministry of Defense turned to Embraer, hoping it could build an aircraft suited for interception and border patrol. The Brazilian Air Force also quickly expressed the need for a new advanced military trainer to replace an outdated model still in use. The aircraft Brazil requested had already been quite clearly envisioned before Embraer stepped in. It had to be designed specifically to operate in Amazonian conditions, capable of withstanding high temperatures, suffocating humidity, and torrential rain. It also had to be a turboprop, not a jet, and able to operate in challenging environments, from short, rugged runways with little or no infrastructure, to long periods of autonomy with minimal support. It needed to fly both day and night, have long range, and be robust, reliable, and well armed enough to operate autonomously for extended missions. Equally important, it had to be capable of engaging adversaries equipped with light arms, handheld weapons, and little else. Embraer would receive the equivalent of $50 million to build the aircraft, using the Tucano as its base. The Brazilian government had agreed that it was a suitable foundation for the new plane. The company gave the new project upgraded engines, a much improved fuselage, better external armor, a broader weapons array, and advanced communication systems, data links, and avionics, all to create a more capable aircraft. By the time production was about to begin, Embraer's changes were so extensive that they had, in effect, created a completely new aircraft. And when it came time to name it, the answer was obvious: Super Tucano. The Super Tucano stood out from its predecessor, agile and powerful, featuring a more robust 1600 horsepower Pratt and Whitney turboprop engine, powering a fully articulated 5-blade propeller with a 2.4 meter diameter. This propeller was designed to be quiet at high altitudes, allowing the Super Tucano to remain a small dot in the sky while conducting reconnaissance, drastically reducing the chances of being spotted from the ground. It had a reinforced structure and a robust landing gear to withstand G-forces and carry heavier payloads. Its standout features included Kevlar armor protection and 2 wing-mounted .50 caliber machine guns. The aircraft could carry a variety of weaponry across 5 hardpoints, equipped with a glass cockpit compatible with night vision goggles, HOTAS controls, and provisions for advanced systems like data link, onboard camera and video recorder, and infrared forward-looking sensors. It was also equipped with chaff and flare dispensers, missile approach warning systems, radar warning receivers, and 0-0 ejection seats for enhanced safety. Even the windshield was made of reinforced glass, capable of withstanding high-speed bird strikes. In 1996, Embraer partnered with Elbit Systems, equipping the aircraft with state-of-the-art mission computers, head-up displays, navigation systems, and weapons management systems. The Super Tucano proved its reliability and performance through rigorous testing and continuous improvements. Measuring 11.38 meters in length with a wingspan of 11.14 meters and a maximum takeoff weight of 5,400 kilograms, this agile aircraft was incredibly powerful. It could cover great distances quickly, making it ideal for urban strike missions and close combat scenarios. In terms of speed, it could reach up to 590 kilometers per hour, with an impressive range of up to 1,333 kilometers. This allowed for more than 5 hours of flight before returning to base. In combat situations with a heavy weapons load, the range dropped, while top speed remained around 550 kilometers per hour. It could also reach altitudes comparable to commercial jets, just over 10,000 meters or 35,000 feet. When fully equipped for combat, it is the kind of aircraft no one wants to face. Versatility is the key word, and the equipment combinations it can carry are truly impressive. In addition to its 2 internal machine guns, 1 in each wing, the aircraft can mount up to 5 additional pods for machine guns or cannons under the wings and fuselage, depending on configuration. These same 5 hardpoints can be used to mount unguided bombs and rocket pods, including a variety of incendiary and fragmentation options. The A-29 truly shines in counterinsurgency operations, providing invaluable close air support for ground troops. Alternatively, it can carry various air-to-air missiles, including the proven Sidewinder, or air-to-ground missiles. It is also capable of deploying laser-guided and GPS-guided bombs, and, if necessary, equipping signal and chaff pods, special sensor units, or additional fuel tanks to extend range. Its ability to fly low and close to ground forces amid the dense Amazon was essential, and that's where the Super Tucano excels. As one Embraer strategist put it in the early 2000s, above all, the aircraft needs to be autonomous, because there's no infrastructure out there, and once you're in the Amazon, you're on your own. Though extremely valuable in the Amazon, it was also built to endure in a wide range of other environments, from dense forests to open deserts and mountainous regions, capable of going where more sophisticated jets simply cannot. Those high-end aircraft may appear far more capable on paper, but they require special care, long, level, well-maintained runways for takeoff and landing, countless maintenance hours per flight hour, and much more. In contrast, a Super Tucano can likely land anywhere there's a relatively flat patch of ground. Most of the maintenance needed to keep it operational can be done with a few screwdrivers, a pair of hands, and a box of spare parts delivered alongside the aircraft at a remote airstrip. As a trainer aircraft, it earned excellent reviews from both instructors and flight trainers. Its versatility and high performance made it an ideal tool to prepare pilots for a wide variety of missions, whether to gently teach new recruits or push advanced trainees when they're ready. The aircraft is forgiving in flight, easily recoverable from stalls or unexpected bad maneuvers. Its low speed tolerance is unusually forgiving for a plane that can also fly fast when needed. Excellent for training missions, they can quickly be prepped to work with multiple instructors across multiple shifts and are equally valuable for training ground controllers in coordinating airstrikes. With so much versatility, power, and real-world multi-role capabilities, it's no surprise that this aircraft is a favorite among any global military force that can afford it. Combat and legacy. When it entered service with the Brazilian Air Force, the aircraft began one of its most important missions, border patrol. In the late 2000s, it played a crucial role in the SIVAM project, aimed at fighting drug trafficking. On June 3, 2009, two A-29s from the Brazilian Air Force, guided by an Embraer E-29, intercepted a Cessna U-206G coming from Bolivia near Alta Floresta da Oeste. After following proper protocol, one of the A-29s fired a warning shot from its machine guns, forcing the Cessna to follow them to Tucano airport. This incident marked the first application of the shoot-down law, which allows illegal flights to be taken down. During inspection, 176 kilograms of base paste of that white stuff were found on board, enough to produce nearly 1 metric ton of magic powder. The two occupants were arrested with assistance from the federal police. In 2011, Brazil launched a series of military operations called Operation Agatha, aimed at fighting various illegal activities along borders with neighboring countries, including drug trafficking, illegal mining, deforestation, and wildlife smuggling. The first phase focused on the border with Colombia, using aircraft like the A-29 to destroy illegal landing strips used by criminals. The operation's success led to a second phase, this time on the borders with Uruguay, Argentina, and Paraguay, including the tri-border area. The military used A-29s and upgraded Northrop F-5 Tiger II/F-5EMs to intercept 33 aircraft, resulting in drug seizures, criminal arrests, and the destruction of illegal airstrips. Operation Agatha III then replicated these effective strategies along the borders with Bolivia and Peru. It became the largest coordinated mission involving the Army, Navy, and Air Force, aiming to fight trafficking and organized crime across a nearly 7,000-kilometer border zone. Thanks to these efforts, Brazil saw a significant rise in drug seizures, confirming the effectiveness of the A-29s. By 2003, the A-29 had begun operating as a counterinsurgency aircraft, facing threats with minimal anti-aircraft defenses. Instead of controlling airspace or engaging in major aerial combat, the A-29 Super Tucano found its role as a reliable ally to special operations forces, offering close air support in less risky conditions. Designed for special missions, including support for ground troops and light attacks in harsh environments, the aircraft gained global fame and popularity. The Super Tucano also used its advanced targeting system to deliver precision bomb strikes on the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, FARC, and other allied rebel groups. In a 2010 operation, 25 Super Tucanos dropped 7 metric tons of munitions on a FARC camp during a major Special Forces mission. In other strikes, Super Tucano squadrons destroyed a wide array of targets, becoming arguably the most effective asset in Colombia's counterinsurgency arsenal. Only one aircraft was reported downed during service in Colombia, allegedly by a .50 caliber machine gun, although this is contested. In return, the Super Tucanos greatly reduced FARC's military and economic capabilities, pushing the group toward conditions that ultimately led to a peace agreement in 2016. Besides the hundreds of units in service in Brazil, the aircraft is widely used across Latin America by Chile, Ecuador, and Honduras. Even the world's largest air force turned its attention to the Super Tucano, operating several within its Special Operations Command. It became the only non-US designed aircraft to serve in direct combat roles across the entire US military, thanks to a partnership with Sierra Nevada Corporation, which led to its production in the United States. The US had been eyeing the A-29 for some time, searching for an affordable, manned aircraft capable of close air support and tactical intelligence missions. In 2010, it was considered for the Light Attack Armed Reconnaissance (LAR) program, which aimed for around 100 aircraft, though budget constraints delayed the project. In 2011, the Super Tucano competed with the AT-6B Texan II for the light air support contract. Following legal disputes, the Super Tucano won in 2013, securing the sale of 20 aircraft to the Afghan Air Force AAF. In 2017, the US Air Force launched the OAX Light Attack experiment to assess mission-ready support aircraft. Despite a tragic accident during testing, the A-29 impressed and was selected along with the AT-6B to support special operations and provide combat aviation advising. The A-29 kept gaining popularity. Although the US Special Operations Command, USOCOM, showed interest in replacing it with armed surveillance aircraft, funding was postponed for further studies. Still, 13 countries adopted the A-29, including 3 units for USOCOM in 2021. Built at Embraer's Jacksonville, Florida facility, the A-29s significantly boosted the Afghan Air Force's capabilities, which carried out around 2,000 strike missions. Elsewhere in the world, the Super Tucano proved essential for the Dominican Republic in blocking international trafficking from entering its airspace. In Indonesia, it helped suppress regional uprisings. In Sahel, nations like Burkina Faso, Mali, and Mauritania, it contributed to fighting Islamist insurgencies, while in Nigeria, it participated in efforts against Boko Haram. In the Philippines, it launched airstrikes on Islamic State militants and other terrorist groups. In Afghanistan, it fought the Taliban until 2021. Its use in countries facing insurgencies and complex border conditions shows how frequently it's deployed in tough environments and how often it prevails. At the Ladi Defense and Security event in 2023, the Super Tucano A-29 was launched in NATO configuration, an aircraft designed for light attack, armed reconnaissance, and advanced training, initially aimed at European clients. This new version, named A-29N, includes upgrades to meet NATO standards, such as a new data link and single pilot operation, among other modifications. These features will enhance its mission flexibility even further, allowing it, for instance, to be used in JTAC, Joint Terminal Attack Controller training. Its training systems are also being updated to meet top global standards, incorporating virtual, augmented, and mixed reality. With a respected legacy and a knack for being in the right place at the right time, Embraer is positioning itself to rearm NATO nations by offering precise, versatile, and cost-effective aircraft. Today, the global Super Tucano fleet has logged well over 500,000 flight hours across only 260 aircraft, including over 60,000 combat hours, and with just 1 loss in a combat mission. All of this was achieved within the budget limits of developing nations, serving as a trainer, reconnaissance platform, border patrol aircraft, and light attack plane, all in one. In a world obsessed with 5th-generation fighters, stealth bombers, and high-tech drones, it's the Super Tucano that takes on the dirty work. And as the world is quickly learning, the Super Tucano does that job better than almost any other aircraft, losing out only to the most advanced fighters from global superpowers. Interestingly, many aircraft seem underpowered or underestimated in conflict, yet history often proves otherwise. Just like the Mohawk in the Vietnam War, which, despite being a twin-engine propeller aircraft, managed to shoot down jet fighters. Surprising, right? If you doubt it, the next story is already rolling on your screen.